It is the calm before the storm here at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool. We have got 2 more fantastic quarter-final matches coming to you.
In the first game of the night, we've got Michael van Gerwen, the 3-time World Matchplay champion, taking on Andrew Gilding in his first World Matchplay quarter-final, and then we've got a repeat of the 2019 quarter-final with Michael Smith taking on Rob Cross.
Yeah, 2 excellent matches these should be. And before that, we got a chance to speak to an old friend of Darts World, former of this parish. It was Polly James. So I'm here backstage with one of the Sky correspondents and Radio X DJ, Polly James.
I love that correspondent. I love the correspondent. Yeah, I'll take that.
So
yeah.
I've listened to you over the years on Radio X,
amazing.
being a massive fan, and obviously you've been on the Sky Sports darts coverage.
Yeah.
What got you into darts? Was you obviously a fan, I take it?
Yeah, it was a fan, and will always be a fan first and foremost, because you never want to lose sight of what it's like to be a fan, especially in my position in terms of reporting, because you're the first person on call, or there at the scene when they've won, and you want to sort of deliver what the fans want to hear as well. So, but yeah, a fan for a long while. My first time at the darts was at Ali Pali. So my birthday's 27th of December.
Oh,
I'm not just telling you.
I'm another December person.
Perfect. So I mean, so 27th is smack bang in the middle of the world. Generally the business end of it.
Yes.
So we used to go, and I say my first time was maybe about 15 years ago. I've loved it for a long while. I don't know what it is. It's just like you just click with it, don't you?
Yes,
There's
absolutely.
just something about darts that you can't put your finger on, but you just love it.
And we've got 2 exceptional matches tonight. Who are your picks?
Who are my picks? It's interesting because I get to speak to the players beforehand, and they both put up good fights in terms of how they're going to do, and they both have, they all have belief that they're going to do it. I am super excited for Michael van Gerwen and Andrew Gilding. Yeah. Probably more than I feel anyone else here. I think it's going to be an absolute humdinger. I don't know. It's going to go one way or the other. Michael's going to run away with it, or Andrew Gilding's going to hang on in there. Whether he can sustain the long format or not, Michael van Gerwen doesn't think so. And then also you've got the behind the scenes with these stories as well.
Yes, absolutely.
What are you going to say?
I've got Andrew Gilding's a bit of a cult hero, and it just seems to be going into that.
It is, and it's just so, he wants to buy a bungalow, doesn't he?
Yes.
And Michael van Gerwen was like, no, keep dreaming, Andrew, it's not going to happen, you're not going to win this thing. Obviously repeat of the UK Open final as well of last year. It is huge, and when I spoke to Michael van Gerwen about that earlier, I said, is this, is that game running through your mind today at all? Like, are you having flashbacks of it? And he was like, everyone keeps reminding me, which obviously is probably not too nice for him, because that was in the past, and this is a new day, and a year on and a bit. So, I'm just super excited for it. I think Michael van Gerwen will win it. But who knows? This is darts. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and the second game for me, it's like myself and Harry, we do have a lot of discussions about who we think is going to win, and we did predict leads in the past. And with this one, it just feels to me like it is a real toss of a coin. It depends who can get going in the early goings of the match, and then just sustain that lead, because they're both matching each other in terms of checkouts and outshots and the scoring capabilities. I mean, obviously Rob Cross with the 107, but you feel Michael Smith's definitely got that game in him. So.
100%. He's I think if he brings out his A game, or whether they bring out the best in each other.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? This is an important game, obviously. 2019 final repeat.
Yeah.
But if you were to ask me who I think Rob Cross is in the most phenomenal of form, and mentally as well. We're talking to Dimmy this week, and actually he made like a really good point that a darts player, their muscle is their brain.
Yes.
And they don't have to have the body of a footballer, of a cyclist or whatever. And when he sort of broke it down like that, I was like, oh, that's so true. And it's like, if your mind space is in a good place, then you're going to do good things. And Rob Cross is in a really good, happy place at the moment. So
it's like a new Rob Cross. We've got the new theme
Yeah,
song, the new
it's
shirts.
like I
It
said,
just
the
seems like
Rob
he's got
the
a new
Rob Cross
passion.
the Rob Cross rebrand is going
Yeah.
very well. But you know, he's just moved house, so that's all done. So, and obviously, like one of the most stressful things in the world, he's just been on a lovely holiday. He's playing really good darts. Everything is connected. You know, the stars are aligning, and you know, he goes under the radar. He's going quietly about his business, and I think that really is an advantage for him. You know, there's not a lot of hoo-ha, there's not a lot of fanfare around him, you know. So I do think it's going to be Van Gerwen Cross.
Interesting.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
like it. There's a few points of Holly James. Thank you very
so
much.
I've
once
said that
again.
now it's going to be the opposite, okay?
Oh yeah. Any prediction? I mean, I know from previous any
Yeah.
predictions I made just went out the window.
Yeah, sure. There we go. There's Michael Van Gerwen's manager there. So I have to say that.
Thank you very much, Holly. Much for your
Pleasure.
time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we look back on the two matches that happened, and I've got to say there was two very interesting matches.
Definitely. In the first game between Michael Van Gerwen and Andrew Goulding, at the start of the game, I did think that Van Gerwen would race ahead quite early on, but Goulding stuck with him a lot in the early parts.
Yeah, there was a few clutch finishes, the 148 and as such, and I think Gilding just seemed to have them moments in short bursts that just frustrated Michael.
Actually, and you could see that on the stage as well with all the antics that Van Gerwen was doing. He was missing lots of doubles early on in the match, and you were sensing that this was just frustrating him more and more, and it could have been him thinking in his head maybe that this isn't my day, but eventually one finish just before the break, and that proved the catalyst for Van Gerwen getting back to what we were expecting him to do at the start of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just seems that Andrew Gilding, as good as he was throwing, I think he was just reaching his level around about that 16 leg mark, 17 leg mark, and this was the longest game he's played. You know, when he won the UK Open, that was first to 11 in that final, and you could tell he was just getting to the latter point of his stamina.
Yes, and that was obviously, you can definitely take the confidence and the experience from this match going into other matches, whether he does reach a match play quarter final again or he goes deep in competitions like the Grand Slam or even the World Championships.
Yeah, and when he was winning them legs, Andrew Gilding, the crowd was really on his side. I mean, if I heard gold, always believe it. Yeah, if I heard it once, I heard it, well, at least 6-7 times, and it shows the atmosphere that is the Winter Gardens. It's a great atmosphere, and it's a smaller venue, but it is loud.
We heard Nathan Aspinall saying on the very first night that the crowd played a massive part in him getting over the winning line against Luke Woodhouse, and that crowd can, if they're on your side, then you can definitely use it to your advantage, and Gilding did that early on in the match.
Yeah, but as we said, Michael Van Gerwen was able to prevail in that match, and it meant a lot to him because it's another semi-final, and people write him off at their peril, and they say he's not as dominant as he used to be. No, because you've got so much depth now in that top 16 or even the top 64.
Yeah.
Where anyone can beat anyone at any given moment, but the longer the matches go, it's the players that are more used to it will prevail. But if you look at the stats there, you can see the 180s by Michael Van Gerwen, 11 against 4. The 140s near, close together, and then Andrew Gilding having 44 tons against Michael Van Gerwen's 57, which just shows that straighter darts where it was tons, it was more of an 85 and 83, and that was something that Andrew Gilding has been trying to work on. He said in a previous interview he's been looking at his technique to be straighter rather than just be in the process of throwing, but he's definitely going on the right path with his performance this week at the Winter Gardens. But there you look at the averages, and it's a 7-point difference between the two, and you could say if you look at the result, that's probably about right.
Yes, and at the end, Van Gerwen, with what you look at the 136 checkout as well as his highest finish, that was the finish that, in my opinion, was the game changer. Even though he didn't take the lead with that finish. It was a 136 to go behind 7-8 at the break, but it was a breaker throw on Gilding, and he came back after the break, 6 perfect darts, and then that was the start of numerous legs won, and that was where the gap between the two players started to show.
Yeah, so there we have it, guys. A 16-10 win for Michael van Gerwen in the third of the quarterfinals, first match of the session. So then... quarter-final, and looking at the stats and the performances of the previous rounds, we was anticipating a real humdinger of a match, and it really didn't go the way obviously Rob Cross wasn't thinking, but for me, Michael Smith must have just thought, am I in dream world?
With Rob Cross, all through his career, when he won the World Championship, when he won the World Match Play, he's always taken his chances when he's made themselves for him. And one thing that we saw yesterday was that the doubles completely deserted Rob Cross, and Michael Smith, he can only face what's in front of him, and if his opponent's missing doubles, he knows in his head that he's just got to take the chances.
Yeah, I mean, Rob Cross has always been a double 16 hitter. That's his usual forte, and he's very good on double 18. But for me, kind of the game mismanagement was not switching up when he was having so many issues on double 16. And as Wayne Mardell alluded to in the commentary, I mean, they weren't on the wire. These were big misses, and the way Rob Cross darts land, it just seemed to... He had to jockey for position or move across the hockey to try and find the gaps, but he just wasn't able to find it at all last night.
You think Rob Cross would... a double 16 player, he always leaves it double 16 and double 18 are the two. And in my opinion, he was, like in previous matches, he's been as good on double 16 as he has been on double 18. He's probably thinking that eventually this will start, I will hit one, and then if I hit one, then I'll hit more. But unfortunately, it just didn't happen for him, and eventually he did change his mind and revert to leaving double 18. But by then, like I said to you yesterday, it was too late at that point.
Yeah, the damage was already done. I mean, in the first two sessions, Rob only won 2 of the legs, and that, you know, with that kind of lead, Michael Smith was able just to manage the game appropriately enough to just get the win and just eke ahead.
Fantastic performance. Obviously, going into the game, Rob Cross had 106 average coming into the match. Was there a bit of surprise with how this game turned out today?
I say, I've literally every interview I say it all the time. It doesn't matter what you did yesterday. If you dwell on what you did yesterday, you can't move forward. And I didn't play well against Dober. He played really well, and maybe he was thinking about how well he played and how bad I played. It's all that happens on that day. And if he would have won and I got beat, so what? I would have been obviously upset, and I would have come back to the tournament next tournament and try to get better. But you have to do it on the day. It doesn't matter what day it is, it's that day when you're playing. Records go out the window. Doesn't matter if he's beat me 20 times, I haven't won one. It's on that day, and that's all I get to tell myself. What happens on the stage, it stays on the stage.
And with the numerous amount of missed doubles, obviously you would have gone into the game with a clear plan. Was it a case of just trying to stick to that despite all the numerous missed doubles from?
Literally, my plan was go on stage and just batsman scoring and check the 60s out, the 61s, the 81s, the 70s, and I just couldn't score. I was just, luckily enough, I was hitting like a 140 and a 1-3 somewhere at the perfect time, but I was checking out everything that I left. There was a couple of legs that I was dodgy on finishing, but I was doing the last 9 darts of every single leg. I was finding the right trebles at the right time and the right doubles at the right time.
Michael, many congratulations.
Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.
Michael, fantastic performance. Obviously, going into the game, Rob Cross had 106 average coming into the match. Was there a bit of surprise with how this game turned out today?
I say, I've literally every interview I say it all the time. It doesn't matter what you did yesterday. If you dwell on what you did yesterday, you can't move forward. And I didn't play well against Dover. He played really well, and maybe he was thinking about how well he played and how bad I played. It's all that happens on that day. And if he would have won and I got beat, so what? I would have been upset, obviously upset, and I would have come back to the tournament next tournament and try to get better. But you have to do it on the day. It doesn't matter what day it is, it's that day when you're playing. Records go out the window. It doesn't matter if he's beat me 20 times, I haven't won one. It's on that day, and that's all I get to tell myself. What happens on the stage, it stays on the stage.
But yeah, it was an unfortunate performance by Rob Cross, and he'd be left scratching his head going, why didn't I switch sooner?
Yes, and one thing as well is that Rob Cross was 3-0 down straight away, so he's always on the back foot from the minute go, and that's never helpful in any game, especially over a long format, which that quarter-final was.
Yeah, and if you look at the stats, I mean, overall there's not a lot between them, but as we said, I think Rob Cross's scoring was excellent, but then his finishing was poor, and then Michael Smith was just steady as you go. I mean, 180s, hardly anything between them, 140s, hardly anything between them. On the tons aspect, it's 57 against 48, so you can see there was maybe Michael Smith was staying on the 20s and Rob Cross was moving around the board a lot, looking for them big trebles. But then the 144, should I say, from Rob Cross, you thought that might have started something, but it, as we said, the damage was already done.
He probably needed that 144 check out earlier in the match, because at that point he was near defeat. There was not many legs that Michael Smith needed, and you look at the double percentages there, it's not actually that far in terms of how many darts each player has had at the double, but unfortunately for Rob Cross, he's missed 27 darts at double, and if you do that in any match, the chances are you're going to get beat.
Yeah, absolutely. So there we have it. The last of the quarterfinals was a win for Michael Smith, 16-7.
Wasn't 16-10 this time.
No. 12 180s thrown by Luke Humphries, 9 by Dimitri. The ton 40s is obviously Luke Humphries' wheelhouse, and a full 10 more than Dimitri in that game, which is just amazing. And then you look at the highest checkout, obviously the 164 by Luke Humphries, which was tremendous. And then you look at the averages, 101.21 against 95.38. A truly high level game. We have got an amazing competition here at the Darts World Match Play podcast. As you can see, we have got the Luke Humphries Red Dragon bundle. We have got the darts, the Firestone 2 case, the Pro Players shirt, and we've also got the Air Wing flights and the stems. To be within a chance of winning these amazing prizes, you need to follow us on our socials. We are on Twitter at darts_world, and there you will put in the answer of how many 180s will there be in this year's World Match Play. As we said, to be within a chance, you have to find us on our Twitter and make sure you follow, like and share the post to be within a chance of winning these amazing prizes from Red Dragon. So we move to our UK moment of the day, and there was two great matches, and people could say the moment might have been all the misses from Rob Cross, but I've got to say the moment of the day is Michael van Gerwen's performance, particularly once that 136 was hit.
The amount of legs that he won on the spin was in his. He would have known after that he'd done what he needed to do after that, because Andrew Gilding, it looked like he didn't know what had hit him. Maybe the stamina sort of had its factor, as we mentioned earlier on, but you've still got to produce the darts, and Van Gerwen did, and that 136 was the catalyst. Comes back after the break, 6 perfect darts, and then he wins numerous amount of legs on the spin, and you just sit there and look at Andrew Gilding, and he's probably thinking, what has just hit me?
Yeah, I mean, you could see it was a face of frustration for the first few sessions. Michael van Gerwen, he just couldn't get on with the pace of the game, and Andrew Gilding put in some real good checkouts at the right times, again just to add to that frustration. But it was kind of once that 136 was hit, it was like, right, gloves off now. I'm just going for the jugular. Do whatever you want. It ain't gonna affect me. It ain't gonna affect my game. You're getting bulldozed now.
And Van Gerwen, he let his darts do the talking, and obviously the one thing that you want to do if you've got frustration on the stage, the best place to take it out is on the dartboard, and Van Gerwen did do that in the end. I don't know if it was like 8 or 9 legs continuously that he hit, so if you're doing that in this long format, and the game was, obviously he was 1 leg behind, so to get a 7-leg, 8-leg buffer in the match towards the end of the game as well is, in my opinion, perfect timing from Van Gerwen. And he said in his post-match interview that hitting the doubles at the right moments at the right time, and coming back after that break and winning 5 legs straight in that session was what he needed in the game.
Yes, and we can have a look at that interview now.
Fantastic performance today. Obviously, we talked about hitting the right balls at the right time, and that 136 to go in at the break 8-7 down. Would you say that was a turning point when you came back after the break with the 6 perfect darts?
Yes, of course. That helps a lot, because otherwise you're going to be 9-6 down again, and then you're making yourself incredibly difficult again, and you don't want to make it yourself that difficult. But that's darts sometimes as well. You need to try to maintain your focus going, and that's not always easy, but you have to keep trying and fighting your own battles.
And with what happened last year against Brendan, obviously with this tournament.
Yeah, but last year there was, I think it was first round, isn't it? That's right. Yeah, lovely. No, it's a bit different now. It's a different format. It's a different meet and a different tournament. So I'm looking forward to the next one.
So there we have it, guys. The Oracle Head Neck Cancer UK moment of the day was Michael's 136 and then subsequent performance. Oracle Head Neck Cancer UK is one of the UK's newest charities that help improve head and neck cancer patients' quality of life and outcomes in the UK. They will achieve their mission through their RACE programme to overcome head and neck cancer crisis. Research projects, awareness campaigns, collaboration programmes and experience of patients of all backgrounds placed at the heart of everything. And this year alone they are awarding 8 scholarships to attend the ESTRO Head and Neck Oncology Conference, launching community and PPI projects to promote early diagnosis, organising the 2024 Oracle Head and Neck Cancer UK Oncology meeting in York, and that's in September, sponsoring the National Head and Neck Cancer Audit Feasibility Study alongside with the Barno and other members of the Head and Neck Cancer UK Coalition, and awarding new medical research grants, social detriments of health and lab-based treatment advances. Help us by helping support Oracle by donating on their website, or you can go onto their Instagram page, their Twitter page, Facebook and LinkedIn. For more information, send an email to info@oraclecancertrust.org. Thank you. Finals done. We now have our semi-finalists locked in. 2 different games.
And two games that I didn't expect. That's one thing I would say.
No, first game between Michael van Gerwen and Andrew Gilding. We was expecting some kind of Gilding performance, and there was. I mean, there was some fantastic checkouts, and at points he was ahead.
I expected in that game more of Gilding to be keeping up with Van Gerwen early on, and then eventually Van Gerwen pulled away, and that is what happened in the end. But Gilding did give him a game, and it was sort of worrying Van Gerwen towards the end. You could see the frustration on the stage from him. But the 1-3-6 finish was the sort of catalyst in my eyes, which he came back after that break. He was 8-7 down, but then he hit 6 perfect darts, and then he reeled numerous legs on the spin. And by then for Gilding, it was always playing catch up after that.
Yeah, I mean, this was the longest game Andrew Gilding has played on TV, and you kind of felt it. I mean, he got to a certain level, and there was just not enough in him to keep carrying on at the level he was playing at.
It was, you could say, maybe he ran out of stamina towards the end of the match.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. And then moving on to game 2, where you had Michael Smith versus Rob Cross. And with the performance of Rob Cross in the previous round, we was all expecting some kind of amazing matchup. Now, Mike Smith did enough to get the win, but I've got to say, it was more about the misses of Rob Cross.
As Bobby George says, it's trebles for show, doubles for dough. And unfortunately for Rob Cross, the doubles just didn't come tonight. He was spending a lot of time trying to leave double 16. It wasn't working, and he eventually moved on to double 18, but by then it was too late because Michael Smith was far ahead in the game.
So, there we have it, guys. As we've said, we've got our semi-finals locked in for tomorrow. You've got Michael Smith versus Michael van Gerwen.
You've got Luke Humphries taking on James Waits.
It should be a massive Saturday of darts.
Who do you guys think will reach the final?
So from match play in Winter Gardens in Blackpool, I'm AJ.